Subfields in psychology. Okay, let me hide that. All right, cool. So people go into psychology, they're very, very diverse, and they have a wide-ranging bunch of interests. There are many subfields in psychology for many different types of people who love psychology, with the one underlying goal uniting them. It's to describe and explain behavior and the mind underlying it. So, so they all kind of come from a different point of view, but they're all trying to explain what that behavior is. Okay, and some psychologists they do basic research aimed at discovering or investigating our mental processes and behavior. Basically research for the sake of learning. Some of the following are such researchers. Um, so you have your different part. You have your biological psychologists. They explain how the brain controls behavior, mental disorders, and also genetics. You also have your developmental psychologists, and these are the people that look at a lifespan. The saying in psychology is they go from womb to tomb. So they look at longitudinal studies. They look at studies that will, compare you growing up in New York to compare you across the way. So if you notice from this video right here, it's the person aging throughout one's life. Okay, this it doesn't have any sound, so you're not missing anything. But what it does show is how the person physically develops. And then you have your cognitive psychologists. These are the people that look at how we think, we perceive, solve problems. Okay, and these are people that kind of go into whenever you hear the word cognitive, it's always about thinking. A personality psychologist basically develops personality tests. They look for personality traits. They may contribute to a person's ethics, likelihood of breaking the law, things of that nature. Social psychologists, they'll look at topics on how a person influences a group or how the group influences the person. Okay, and that is a really, really fascinating topic, one of my favorite topics to teach. And lastly, on this page, we have our industrial and or organizational psychologists. And these people, what they do is they try to study and advise on behavior in the workplace. So they try to improve efficiency, productivity, satisfaction of workers. Remember, a happy worker is a better worker. They work on better working conditions for employees. They work at getting more worker output. They may also devise psychological tests for job applicants too. So you've got good management tests and things of that nature. The purpose of these tests is to find out the best people for the jobs. So what is applied research? There's a couple things. Number one, applied research is a study that aims, you're trying to solve practical problems. So one might be a counseling psychologist, and the other one might be a clinical psychologist. So counseling helps people with challenges, vocational things like trying to help them, connect with jobs, marriage issues. A clinical is someone that works and treats with the mental, emotional, and behavioral disorders of people. So, but both counseling and clinical psychologists administer and interpret tests. They provide counseling and therapy, and sometimes conduct basic and applied research. By contrast, a psychiatrist, do the same, but are medical doctors who can prescribe drugs. So a psychologist is one that studies and explains behavior, but a psychiatrist is a medical doctor and can prescribe medication. In 2002, New Mexico granted the right to specially trained and licensed psychologists to do the same. Many states have been moving in that direction because it's such a widely important field. Okay. And that is going to our psychiatrists who are medical doctors. We have other specialists are environmental, consumer, and also school psychologists. Okay, school psych is concerned with helping students who may have learning disabilities, and educational psychologists focus on course planning and teaching methods. So a lot of the practices that your teachers use were developed by psychologists. And then environmental is, how does the environment affect behavior? So overcrowding, why are people in New York a little more upset than people that live out in the country, so to speak, maybe, or the heat and all that stuff. So We also have forensic, health, and also educational. And these are people that like the forensic people. They work with expert witnesses to testify at trials. They work with the justice system. They are the ones that can tell whether a person is legally able to stand trial. They help hire police officers to deal with stress. Health psychologists, what they do is they study link between psychology and our own physical health. So these are important to many people, in the workplaces and stuff like that. And then our educational ones, we've already talked about that. All right. So name that psychologist. I provide vocational career guidance and or help someone in terms of death of a loved one. And our last page. There you go. So great job. And what I'm going to ask you guys to do is follow the instructions and proceed with the form.